Hi there, I'm Construction Gamer and this is the UK Northern Powerhouse on Transport Fever 2. This is going to be episode number 29 in the series, and in this episode I'd like to try and get the rail way down from Wrexham towards Shrewsbury, maybe on a little bit further. Actually, no, I think Shrewsbury's the furthest south on that line actually, but I was talking in the last episode about the Mark III DVT that's now available. I think I would like to try and get that running, so that's going to need a class 67 Mark III carriages and the Mark III DVT, and that'll run from Flint down towards Shrewsbury. In real life it'd be the Cardiff Holyhead express service, but yeah, it's Flint to Shrewsbury is as far as we can go on this particular map. We are currently looking at Sheffield, no we're not, we're looking at Leeds. Why did I say Sheffield? Which is looking pretty busy now. I have remodelled it a little bit. It's not completely realistic because there's just not enough platforms, but it is getting quite busy now. I've put on a service up to Ilkley now. I put on a 323 something up to Ilkley, and I'll do some other services later on. He's having to wait a long time to get on to the bay platforms, isn't he? There is going to be a bit of a queue, but it's about as best as I can do with the layout, because I need to make sure there's enough turn back facilities for services that are going back out in that in the westerly direction. I could potentially put them on because I've tried to look at the real layout and try and replicate as much as I can, and there is actually, saying that I'm going to phase out diamond crossings, there is actually a diamond crossing. There's like 6 tracks, and on I guess 2 and 3 there is a diamond crossing, so I've actually replicated that, and I've tried to make it so that any trains coming from Bradford, and that will be Wigan, not Wigan, one of those places, oh dear, Wakefield Westgate can actually get over to the bay platforms if they need to, but I'm still not 100% on what sort of service pattern we're going to have running through Leeds. Obviously we've got the Trans-Pennine Express services, we've got some of them in place, they can mostly come from Huddersfield. We've got the Chester service, which would at this time period wouldn't be, but I'll put it in place anyway. Wouldn't be going, but put that in place. And I put Bradford interchange to Hull service, which I think is a real service as well, so that's a through service, that's not the end of the world. And obviously I've got the Midland Main Line services to put on yet, so we've still got quite a lot to do, and it's already quite busy, and I haven't even started with the East Coast services yet. I'm not sure which direction they go, if I'm honest. I need to double check, because I'm not sure if they actually come to Wakefield or not before they get onto the East Coast main lines, so still plenty of research to do. When I was building the route up towards what would be Bradford Forster Square and Ilkley, and then eventually out to Skipton, for some reason I built a line which went over here and there isn't one, so I took that away. I got a bit confused. I was looking at this line because Bradford Interchange and Forster Square are so close together, it almost looks as if when you've zoomed out it looked as if there was another rail, but there isn't. So hopefully Leeds is looking a bit more realistic now. It's getting quite busy now. There's a few trains coming through here. Remodelled it a little bit like I said, and hopefully this track layout is a little bit more realistic. Once I put Forster Square in, I can do a Bradford to Ilkley service, which I think again is electrified. I think the line as far as Skipton is electrified, and it will be 321s that I'm going to be putting on it eventually, but obviously we haven't unlocked those just yet. Yeah, I think it's either 321 or 322 with the purple northern livery, so yeah, I haven't unlocked those. So we've got a couple of 323s with the northern livery operating between Leeds and Ilkley at the minute. So that's where we're up to. We're all caught up with that. We've got to head over. Like I try to go from east to west each episode and alternate, and I mean this is being rubbish. So what we're going to do here, excuse me, we do have Welshpool actually, so I have built Shrewsbury a little too far south. Yeah, I'm going to have to build it quite far north and then put a shuttle in, but before we do that, we're going to do, yeah, I reckon 160 metres should be long enough, but just, where's the nearest depot? Is there one somewhere? There should be. Probably isn't. Have I literally not built any depots anywhere? Could I get one in here? Yeah, there is actually one here in real life. There's the old, it's currently the Alstom depot where they service the 175s, but eventually that will actually transfer over to CAF, is it? I want to say, who are building the class 197s, which are going to replace the 175s. So yeah, I'm going to put, because what I want to start doing is getting permanent depots in place in, well, I wouldn't say I want them in realistic locations, but if I know where one is in real life, then I'll try and build it. And we don't want to be, doesn't want to be electrified. Get that into there. And then we just want a depot. Hopefully, all I want to do is look at how long the train is. But yeah, hopefully this should be sufficient to connect up for the services that I need anyway. And then we've got to unelectrify that little bit. Now this is where it gets complicated because we've got the third rail track that comes into this platform here. So it is a little bit confusing. Yeah, we'll ignore that for now. I just literally want to look at a train, that's all I'm supposed to be doing. So, diesel locomotive, 67, which we don't have in Arriva colours yet, so I will just go with unbranded. And then passenger Mark 3, I haven't even got that unlocked yet. I'm not sure when that unlocks, so we're going to go with the BR Blue to begin with. It's 1, 2, 3... Is it 4? Yeah, I think it's 4 carriages and then a DVT on the back. And that is 132 metres long. That's all I wanted to know, and that is a capacity of 89, which is basically the consist for that service. So I'm just making sure that the stations that we build are going to be long enough. So let's start getting the actual station in, which is just going to be something like that. It's going to be red because it's going to be, it is now anyway, a Transport for Wales rail station, and they are all being repainted, rebranded in the Transport for Wales rail colour. I'm not going to bother with anything yet, we just want to get that in. Just want to get my thing open there, get the map open, and we can actually, might be able to build this relatively realistically, possibly. Let's configure it anyway, let's get it built. So we're going to want some platforms. I've forgotten how to play the game, it's only been 2 weeks. Right, so we're going to have a pair of tracks down here, are we? Tracks down the middle, like so, and then platforms, and have a couple of them. It doesn't actually look that long, but it's 160 metres and the consist is only 130, so it should be long enough. Right, so it's going to need 1, 2, 3, and then something like that. I wish I knew, like 100, so what's that? Each segment is, I'm no good at maths. Where's my calculator? This is really basic as well. I shouldn't need to use a calculator for this, this is rubbish. So 40 metres, so each one of them is going to be 80 metres long. I need to go back to the depot, because all I want really is it doesn't really need 2 bay platforms, but it's got them in real life, so I'm going to build them anyway. But this is just basically for the service which goes out towards Welshpool, which is only going to be, it's going to be a 2-car DMU, isn't it? That's all it's going to be. So I think 80 metres should be more than long enough, so I'm not going to worry too much about that, and we'll put in platforms put in those, and that should be 80 metres long, which is fine. Is there another? No, there isn't. There's just tracks around the outside. Nice and simple, and that's been electrified, hasn't it? Never mind. Passenger bill, that's fine. Canopies, we need an underpass, don't we? So platforms, where are you? Platforms. I think I will go for the thingy ones. Put 2 in the middle there, just so it looks even. And then I've got too many things going on now with all these different mods, and then it just wants a bit of a canopy down the middle, and that doesn't want to be one of those segments, does it? That wants to be a blank segment. Platforms, blank. Like that. That should be fine. Right, so now track layout it's not massively complicated, but what we do want to do is tracks is unelectrify. No, it's just the one rail, that's fine. Electrification, no. So this is, where's Gabowen? Why is Gabowen all the way over there? That's why. Right, okay. Back in 5. Okie dokie, so we've built it on a little bit of a better alignment now than it was. It wasn't the end of the world, but I did want the tracks to be pointing a little bit towards Gabowen. So we're going to put those in. I just need to get my map zoomed in a little bit. I don't think there's any reversing facilities at Shrewsbury, so we're going to get those in Shrewsbury. So yeah, get those in there, and then there is actually a bypass line down the middle, but I'm going to ignore that. It's not, I don't know what would be bypassing Shrewsbury. Maybe some freight, possibly. But yeah, I think hopefully this is flat enough, because it is. It's not an overly complicated junction, but it does need to be right. So it's a bit. It is quite strange actually how it's laid out. So just after that, then we need a switch in there, and then this goes out towards Whitchurch, and then off towards Crewe. Something like that, so that can go off, and then a bit of track coming in, and then this wants to merge into this one here, which should be about right. How's that looking? That's looking fine. Is that all fine? Apart from I've just do a bit of terrain manipulation there, no issue, and signalling. Now I think Shrewsbury still semaphores, but no, I'm not going to go with them. We're going to have modern signalling for Shrewsbury, so we're going to need one there, we're going to need one there. They're going to be 2 up lines. I think I'll have one there. I'm guessing this is going to be a bi-directional track, possibly. No, this is going to be a down, isn't it? So that's definitely going to be a down. Is this? No, that's going to be a down as well. And they are 2 ups. So I think we're not going to be able to signalise anymore, so I'll leave that. Yes. So this is going to be the up. Is it? No. Yeah, this is going to be the down for Wrexham and Chester, and then it could potentially. So I'm guessing, by the looks of it, these are two down lines on these 2 platforms here, which seems a bit odd, and then there's only 1 up platform, maybe. That seems to be the way it looks, but this isn't complicated. I don't know. I'm going to keep this as a bi-directional track in the middle anyway, so this can be an up or a down, and then this is a down and this is an up. So it is fairly straightforward. It just looks a little bit complicated, especially when you're not building it true to how it is in real life. So get rid of all that. We're going to have to get rid of you as well, and put in the track at the bottom. Let's get the map. Yeah, this looks fun. Going to be complicated. It is actually Shrewsbury, considering it's not actually that big, it's actually relatively complicated. So we've got, this is where, when you don't build, actually saying that, when you come out the south of Shrewsbury. That bypass line merges in anyway, so we'll just put 2 tracks out like that to begin with. Doesn't matter that the slow speed at the minute, I just want to get the basic track layout in. Don't think I can spin the, maybe if I just did that. Now having the map available is great and all that, but it does mean that you just want to recreate it more accurately. You're just trying to build it as realistically as possible, whereas in the past I would have just literally built it, got on with it and got it done. So let's have a go at trying to recreate it a little bit more realistic. We're going to pause the game before it decides it wants to start building on the track. So we've got the up line here, so we'll get it out to about there. I just want to see. Right, that's fine. So then that goes off to towards Welsh Pool. Right, so we've got these two tracks here. I haven't got my microphone in the right place, so when I'm actually looking at the second screen, it probably does go a little bit quiet. So the 2 bay platforms, which we don't actually need 2, but we've just put 2 in anyway, actually go into one piece of track like that. I get it now. And then this is basically gonna go, this goes straight off towards Birmingham, and then we've basically got these 2 tracks, they both go off towards Birmingham, as does this. So we've got an up down, then we've got that. What have we got? No. So after you've merged into 2, then you come off here and you go in the Birmingham direction as well, as do you, like so, which looks pretty bob on. And then you want to cross, how's that looking before we go any further? It's looking horrendous, so we've got to rebuild it. I thought this was relatively flat, so I didn't bother too much about the detail, but we'll do it again, we'll get it done. So, right, get this, wants to be, yeah, that is flat, I don't know why it was so ugly. So it wants to curve a little bit like that, and then this comes off towards Birmingham like that, and that's why, because that was going uphill, and then another spur coming off like that. So we'll just check this junction is nice and flat, and then this crosses and does something weird. Yeah, so that crosses there like that, and then another one also crosses like that as well. Yeah, this is tricky, this. Right, so you want to be, oh, you are going to fit little tiny junction in there, and yeah, so this is going to be a down, comes in, it can either go onto this platform here or this, which I thought was an up, down, up. Right, okay, I think we're getting there slowly. This is going to be the first, well, I say the first, I've actually done Chester as well, which is pretty realistic, and that is also a bit of a mess. But yeah, we've got this bit of track wants to come off over to here like that, and then this one wants to join it, but not quite so sharply. That can be a little, let's see what we're looking like here. It's a little bit of a mess, but it's realistic. So they come into there, and then for some reason that goes over to that. Yeah, I mean, probably really put a double slip in there, but again, I don't think double slips are that common. So this is the main track, which wants to just reduce that curve a little bit. I mean, this track actually doesn't really go anywhere, it's just the trains are going to pull off to come back around in the right direction. Okay, it should be, I think it's, yeah, and then just something like that, and like that, which it's not letting me do. 28, that's quite slow. I don't think I know we're coming into a station, but I think we can do a bit better than 28. So if I actually bring it from this end first, what's that, 50, 42, that's better. And then get that into there, which is not letting me do, but that's still 50, and then just a little bit like that. And just before that, this is going to have to pull off quite a way, but not really too concerned about money anyway, so we just don't even think this is going to get used. I should, or would it get used? I'm not sure. Maybe for a something like that, and then this, well, a bit of an autosave. Okie dokie, so we are slowly getting there. I think this needs to start to curve around towards a bit sooner than it probably would. Actually, we're not gonna. I don't think we're. I think I need to start the curve a lot earlier actually, because I want it to be relatively. It doesn't have to be too quick, but I want it to be a reasonable speed. So that's like that, and then this, I think, just hooks straight in, straight forward connection like that. This isn't going to get used, but I just want to put it in anyway, like so. And then this needs to go off a little bit more than is necessary, and I think what I will do is just chuck that into there. It's not going to have that many services, and what I'm going to do is put a fake station on it. So the fake station I think wants to be 160. No, not 160, like that, and click off it, otherwise you end up changing, and that's been electrified. Never mind, it is a bit of a mess, to be fair. And this is solely going to be a downline, isn't it? So that is fine. So I'm going to put in actually a signal there, and then I'm just going to put in, I'm not going to put a signal there, but I think there is queuing capacity. I think actually what I can do, because I did this in the tutorial I did for signalling, is to check the basically the length of your train. So we're going to be using so it's going to have a locomotive, it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess we could move that. I don't think we're going to need to. Yeah, that should be sufficiently long enough for the longest train that's going to operate on this route anyway, which is going to be 4 cars plus locomotive. So I'm going to go back and then chuck a signal in there, and I will put one in like so. This isn't going to get used, but I will put a signal in there anyway, just so we're not blocking anything. That's fine, not going to get anything in there. And then that's going to go off to Welshpool, so that's all fine. And what's going to happen is the trains that would normally go on towards either off down towards South Wales or to Birmingham are going to come down, turn around here, and then going to be on the right track as they head back out, which I know isn't the most efficient way, but I just think it's a little bit more realistic, and I just prefer having it like that if there's the space. And these all want to be one way. I'm not going to put any two-way signals on because it just complicates the issue. Yeah, can't put a. Can I put? This is yeah, it's one of them. Right, so let's just bring this out. Let's just bring this out to about there, like that, and then just put in that. Oh, come on, it's straightforward. Just hook up. It's not complicated. Right, so that's fine. So this is going to be solely a down. I think actually I can get away with just a signal there. That should be enough space for the consist, the train, to park up there while it waits for something to turn around and then come back down, and then he's got time to wait there. That's not going to need any signalling. I think, yeah, I've got a signal there already. I think that will do, because the Welshpool services are going to be coming in here anyway. Yeah, I think that's going to have to do. because this is dragging on just for the sake of trying to make it look a little bit more realistic. But I think as the series developed, things are getting slow. I'm getting slightly better, I think, as the series progresses at making things a little bit more realistic, and that wants to be one way. But we haven't progressed the track very much, but I don't think I've done on camera, or recorded rather, me building a realistic layout, so I think it's just interesting. I know I've done loads of station builds in the past, and I've made loads of mistakes with stations in the past, but I think it's just interesting just to show building like a realistic layout, and it is possible-ish within the constraints of the scale of the map that we're actually working with. Just put a bit of gravel in there, a bit of ballast, like so. Maybe a little bit more flattening a little bit later on, just a bit more ballast in there. But yeah, that's fairly accurate, I think. Looking at now, what am I using? Open Rail Map, or yeah, openrailwaymap.org seems to be one of the best sort of maps that, and it's got maps from railway maps from all around the world as well. It's not just the UK, so it really is a handy source. It's really, the rails are, really clear for you to see, which is handy. So yeah, we've got all that in place, and then I think off camera I will just build the railway up to Gabbo and Wrexham and on to Chester, because what happens is the Cardiff to Holyhead service will come from Holyhead, it comes to Chester, turns around, comes out the back, and then goes to Wrexham General, and then Gabbowen and Shrewsbury, and then it would have come off to this rail, and then there'd be another junction. One would go off towards Birmingham, and one goes to South Wales, and then this obviously goes up towards Welshpool. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Just need to get rid of the prop which is in the way, but I think I am pretty happy with how that has turned out. There we are. So we've got Shrewsbury in place anyway, and we can get some connections in now towards Chester and Welshpool and off towards Whitchurch and Crewe. So I'm going to leave it there for today and say until next time, bye bye.